Hello, and welcome to the Chaos to Calm podcast, episode number 72. I'm Sarah, the perimenopause naturopath, your guide through this journey of perimenopause. So, if you're over 40, feeling like your changing hormones are hijacking your mood, energy, and weight, and you want to change that in a holistic way, then this is the place for you, my friend, because each episode I share with you my views on what is happening in your body, why you're feeling the way you are, and how you can change that with actionable advice to help you move from chaos to calm and feel more comfortable in your body. Thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your time with me. So, this is continuing on in my series of thriving in the festive season. I don't want to just say surviving because we can do so much more than just survive in this time. But I wonder, and I've probably asked a similar question each time as well, does the holiday season leave you feeling more stressed than joyful? I think that it does. I know that it's often how it goes for women, especially in this phase of life. It's the busiest phase of life for us. Like I say that, I know that. I'm here with you. I am 50 and postmenopausal now, but and just like every time something comes up, I think, why did I add that into our schedule? I know why, because I get FOMO. I was talking with a friend the other day saying, oh, yeah, like I had this empty space in my calendar. Someone said they were doing this. And I'm like, sure, we'll do that too. Then I'm like, why? I get FOMO. And one of my kids gets FOMO really bad too. So together, probably not a great combo. But, this morning I'm recording this podcast episode. I've also launched a sale for my program, Perimeno Go. And I'm going to a homeschool camp for 5 days. So I'm driving 5 hours. I've got to pack the car up and go straight after I finish doing this. Though I do have to actually update my information page for Perimeno Go so that people can actually enroll. So again, it's like, I know how busy it is. It's this time of year. There's a lot of good stuff on. The weather's changing for us here in Australia and New Zealand as well. It's getting warmer. Spent the weekend having a wonderful time seeing friends from interstate as well that were over for a lacrosse tournament. It was so great. And I loved it. And it was really cup filling, but it also meant it put some more pressure on me to finish all these things before we go onto camp. So yeah, sometimes if you're like me, we have a lot more self-imposed things on busyness and it can feel overwhelming. And you might have coped just fine with that a few years ago, but perimenopause or menopause, and it gets a lot harder to deal with this as well. So I've done other podcast episodes on why that happens, why we feel more stressed, why our hormone changes contribute to that as well. But today I want to talk about changing. Changing the holiday season feels more stressful than joyful for you. I'm going to talk to you about how we can change that with self-care and self-care strategies that don't feel like extra work. These are quick, simple hacks. Some of them are your basics that I like all my clients to get in place as well, because they're actually really powerful, especially the combination of them together. So there's a lot on holiday season. It's a whirlwind. You've got a giant to-do list. There's lots of gatherings and lots of obligations and obligatory events. And it's exciting and you get to see people you haven't seen for probably a year. We won't go into that today. Lots of yummy food and drinks around, lots of socializing there as well. But you can feel really stretched thin, exhausted, completely out of balance. And I know what usually happens, it's probably happening for you, is that you put everyone else's needs first and leave yourself running on fumes with not much left in your tank. And this is where self-care is really important. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. Like I said, all my clients, I ask them to do all of these things that I'm going to talk you through today because they are necessary, 100%. And they are simple. They can be time efficient. They don't have to be a large investment of time, but can really help you avoid burnout, keep your energy up, and just enjoy the season and enjoy life, full stop. Like these are applicable all year round, but very important at this time of year when the first thing that can go is the way that you look after yourself. When there's more coming in and more on your plate, that's the first thing that can go. Now, like I said, I'm really busy. I have a lot on my plate, but I get through it because I've got these self-care things in place. So let's get into it. Self-care hacks to keep your body and mind thriving, keep you thriving during the holiday rush. And I wonder, when I'm talking about self-care, I've mentioned it a few times already, what do you think of when I say that? What does self-care mean to you? Is it bubble baths? Is it spa days? Is it weekends away with the girls? These are really lovely and they are self-care in some way, but true self-care that we're going to talk about today that actually goes a lot deeper and more basic, less intensive in terms of time and dollars. And really that they become habits, and that's what I want for you. It's what I want for my clients, making these into habits, really almost micro habits so you don't even have to think about them, but they'll nourish you over the long term and not just easing discomfort or easing the stress in the short term. So self-care is about proactively supporting your physical, mental, and emotional well-being to stay resilient, focused, and doing all the things that you need to do. And like I've emphasized, hopefully understanding why I think it's so important right now is because your schedule's packed, expectations are high, there's just a lot to do. This is when it's more essential, because this is when otherwise you're going to limp into Christmas Day feeling burnt out, resentful, and not enjoying the season at all, and just not showing up in the way that you want to. So self-care is a long-term investment in your well-being. It's not necessarily a quick fix, but it can help you feel better in the short term too. So it's all about choosing habits that move you closer to your goals and not just easing that stress or feeling blur in the moment. And that's what I would call self-comfort. So like self-care would be going to bed, prioritizing sleep, because you've got a busy day the next day. Self-care, we'll talk more about what that might be. Having a massage, having a mani-pedi, sure, that's self-care as well. But eating nourishing food or prioritizing 3 meals a day for yourself, that's all self-care. Self-comfort is staying up late, binge watching TV because you want time on your own, or you feel like you need to unwind, or self-comfort is having a glass of wine when you get home from work because you've earned it and you've had a hard day. It does give you an instant dopamine hit for sure. It makes you feel a little bit better, but in the long term, it's going to make you feel worse. So self-comfort can often ease how you're feeling right in that moment. It's that buffering that I talked about last time with emotional eating and drinking in the last podcast episode. A lot of that comes about because it's self-comfort rather than self-care. So self-comfort is in the short term trying to relieve or ease our life, trying to escape from life essentially. And self-care isn't about escaping from life. It's about building a life that you don't need to escape from. So all of the things that I've been talking about in the last few weeks do fall into that self-care category as well. Boundaries, avoiding burnout. I talked a lot about your strategies in there. I'm going to talk about sleep and other things in the coming weeks as well. But self-care is really about nourishing and supporting your body, giving it what it needs, even when things are busy, even when life is really hectic. So, yeah, I want you to really focus on habits that nourishing you from the inside out. And remember, things like this, new skills, new habits, it takes time and practice to make them a habit and to keep them in your day. So let's talk about some quick and easy self-care hacks for the holidays. First up, I want you to start your day with a plan, because when life gets busy, and I know for lots of women, we're carrying everything up in our head and there's a lot of mental clutter. There's a lot going on up here, and that in itself is really stressful. So you want to be organized, and you don't need to keep it all in your head. You don't need to remember all the minute details, the things that you need to do. Just have a simple plan for your day can help reduce that and give you a sense of control. So I'd suggest writing down your top 2 or 3 priorities for the day. Don't overestimate what you're going to do or just cram it on because you think, oh, I have to get all that done. Reality is that you're probably not going to get it done. And then it's going to feel really stressful because of that. Focus on what really matters and let go of the less important stuff. Now, a little while ago, I talked on the meal planning episode that I did, I talked about how I do set it up Sunday. On Sunday, I spend an hour doing my meal plan shopping list and doing the online grocery order and also planning out my work and life for the week. So I go into my calendar app on my phone. I schedule in when I'm going to do stuff for me, like my self-care stuff, and I see the stuff that I have on for the family. And then I schedule in my work around that. And I schedule it in like, okay, today I'm going to prep my podcast notes. And then usually on Tuesday morning, you'll find me recording my podcast episode there. And I know how much time it takes me and what I need to be ready for that. So I do it quite down to small chunks because that works better for me rather than seeing a big chunk and then I feel overwhelmed and I don't know where to start and what to do. Yesterday, I had to go to the supermarket to get stuff ready for our camp that we're going on. So I scheduled that time. I had scheduled that time into my calendar. And when the reminder came up, I opened the calendar event and the shopping list was in there. Make it easy for yourself. Be super organized. And one thing that I've learned, because I grew up in a very organized and structured household, and I kind of wanted to rebel against that. And my life fell apart and I felt really stressed and everything felt hard because I never knew where I was meant to be and I never had the things that I needed for the activity as things came up. What I've noticed, what I know now is that structure and organization give us so much flexibility. So write your list, schedule your things in, spend a little bit of time on a Sunday or whatever day works for you to organize the week ahead. And you don't have to carry it all in your head. And it's a massive stress reliever. It's a beautiful thing. I love it. Feeling organized, it lowers your stress levels, makes it easier to tackle what you're going to do without feeling overwhelmed. And you can know, oh, well, I know I'm going to get that done on Thursday at 2 p.m. You don't have to stress about when you're going to fit it in. And also you can constrain tasks to the time that you have rather than it being really open-ended. And then you could end up spending 5 hours on a task that really you didn't have that much time for. And it probably didn't need that much as well, because we know psychology research tells us as well, things will take as long as we give it to take. So if we give ourselves 5 hours, it'll take 5 hours. If we give ourselves 1 hour or 2 hours, we can get it done in that time period as well. And my other bit of advice around making a priority list and planning out what you're going to do in the day and the week is eat the frog first. Do the hard or unpleasant tasks straight away, and you'll have a much better day for it. And use whatever method works for you. Use a planner or a notes app or use your calendar, like I say, to jot down your priorities each morning and schedule that in for the day as well. Second tip, take mini breaks to recharge. Even on your busiest days, like I would say that's when you need it even more. Those short pauses can make a world of difference. It doesn't have to be a half an hour, an hour. Just schedule it in. Each hour that you're working or you do a task, take a 5-minute or 10-minute break to stretch, get up away from your desk or wherever you're working at, do some deep breathing, or just sit quietly and drink a hot cup of herbal tea or decaf green tea or whatever it is that you like, not coffee. Choose something like chamomile or tulsi, which is called holy basil as well. There's lots in the supermarket aisle that are marketed for your nervous system, sleep or stress relief. Just make sure it doesn't have any flavors, fruit or sugar added to it though as well. I wonder, when was the last time you gave yourself permission to take a break, even for 5 minutes? Regular breaks reset your mind, reduce your stress, and that actually help you be more productive. So taking that short break is going to pay dividends there for you as well. You could even try, there's lots of different breathing techniques. You could do box breathing. That's really simple, where you inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and then hold that out breath for 4 before you start it over again. And one thing I like to do with that is while I'm doing that breathing is feel my pulse in my wrist, and you'll feel that reduce and slow down. as you're doing it. All right. So hack number 3, I want you to move your body daily. And this doesn't have to be a massive investment. It's not about losing weight or anything like that. Movement isn't just about that. And often actually exercising can inhibit weight loss, but that's a whole nother podcast. Movement isn't just about fitness. It's a powerful stress reliever as well. And especially if it's something that nurtures and nourishes your body and you enjoy it. So like on Sundays, every Sunday afternoon, you'll find my husband and I, we go do a gym workout and then we have a sauna. And I just love it. It's such a nice time for us together. The kids hang out and do their thing together and we go and do that. It's quiet in the gym. There's hardly anyone in the sauna, and it's just a really nice way for us to, like, even yesterday I was super busy. I thought I still want to go to the gym and do the sauna because I just feel good about it. And exercise helps remove cortisol, your stress response hormone, and adrenaline, and it boosts your endorphins. So it lifts your mood. Endorphins are our feel good hormone. So have a think about what's the type of movement that makes you feel good but doesn't feel like a chore and doesn't leave you feeling drained. I think that's the really important thing, is you need to do something that doesn't leave you feeling drained. And so, like I was saying, set it up Sunday or whenever it is, when you're doing your hour of planning, pop it in. 10 to 20 minutes of gentle movement each day. Maybe it's after you've eaten your lunch, you go have a walk around the block or in a park nearby. Or maybe you just do some stretching, or you do an online yoga class or Pilates or something like that in the morning or in the evening. There's lots of lovely ones for sleep. If you have a look on YouTube, you'll see that there. But, also the other thing that you could do is if you meet up with a friend and you're outdoors, you get the added bonus of connection and fresh air, and you're less likely to cancel because you're committed to doing it with a friend. And that research shows us that when we have a commitment, either in being in a class or meeting up with a friend, then we're going to do it. We're not going to cancel out on it. So I want to talk about mindfulness because it doesn't have to be complicated. I know it was a bit of a buzz a couple of years ago and it seems to have died off, but living mindfully is really important to keeping a clear head and not feeling so stressed. It's about being present in the moment, tuning into how you're feeling. But most importantly, mindfulness stops us running away, our monkey mind running away and what ifing. And what if this and what if that? And what's going to happen then? And all of those things. So mindfulness cuts all of that out and just helps us to focus on the task that we're doing right now and where we're at and what's happening around us now. So if you find yourself starting to think of what if, or when I do that, I've got to do this, blah, 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 take a moment, stop, pause, check in with yourself and go through all your senses. What do you hear, right? What can you smell? What can you see? What can you touch? And just tuning into what's there in front of you. I also like when you're transitioning between tasks, instead of rushing from one to the next, pause for a minute, 5 minutes, whatever, take some deep breaths and run through your senses there as well. Reflect on how you're feeling. What do you need? We'll talk about that a bit more in a minute there as well. Now, I mentioned before that what you eat or eating nourishing food and drink most of the time is really important, is a great self-care habit. And when we're rushing around in the holidays, we're dashing from job to job, it's really easy to forget something basic like drinking water. See it in my clients all the time. Even if they take their water bottle with them, sometimes they're forgetting to drink it as well. So again, you can use reminders in your calendar. There's also fun little apps like watering plants that remind you to take your drinks as well. But having water is really important. Staying hydrated helps your brain work well and your body work well. It improves your energy, your mood, your focus, attention. Brain fog, one of the main causes of brain fog is dehydration. And in Australia, it's getting warmer And we do need to drink enough water just to counteract what we're losing in sweat, but also to keep us going and keep our cells working in the way that they're meant to. Now, holiday food, there's lots of it around. I know there's mince pies everywhere. They're probably here for the last month. I'm just really noticing them now. And I know there's lots of lovely foods around as well, but I wonder if you notice how certain foods make you feel. Some will make you feel more sluggish, or you might feel really tired after some meals during the holidays. So, I obviously am very passionate about food and drink. It does play a significant role in how you feel. It's the biggest thing that we put into our body each and every day. So anyone telling you that it doesn't make a difference or it doesn't make a difference what type of foods you put in, they're lying to you. Just going to say that. And I'm standing by it. It's even more important at this time of year because it's okay to indulge and have the sweet treats and drinks and things like that as well. Food is more than fuel in our society and culture, it's true, but we do need nutrient-dense choices most of the time to keep our bodies working how they're meant to work. And when we're eating in a way that dysregulates our blood sugar levels, that spikes our insulin and our blood sugar and then crashes it, it's really stressful for our body. So you're in a world of mental and emotional stressors at the moment, and you're adding a physical stress to it when you eat in that way. So I've done lots of different podcast episodes, but the one on insulin will tell you about how stressful that is for your body. And I've done one on the perimenopause diet, and that will talk you through how to balance your meal to help reduce and avoid that stress and prevent cravings there as well. So you want to have protein-rich foods with every meal. And even if you are snacking, that needs to be balanced as well. Please don't eat like a mince pie for a snack. That's a nightmare for your blood sugar level, and you're going to pay for it later in terms of your energy and your mood. So if you want more guidance on what to eat, Perimeno Go is what I suggest for you. At a base level there, it can help you with a plan that's designed specifically for women in perimenopause or menopause, but your whole family can eat the meals and foods on there as well to help take away that physical stress and nourish and support your body all of the time, as well as enjoying indulgences, eating out, sweets, that kind of thing as well. I want to talk about sleep, and I'm not going to talk about it a lot because I have another podcast episode planned on sleep, but it's quality sleep or even enough quantity of sleep is often the first thing to go during the holidays. But really, it's non-negotiable for your well-being. Sleep heals so much. I keep saying that we're just like giant toddlers without enough sleep. And it's true. Like everything feels harder when you haven't had enough sleep. And the hormone changes of perimenopause and menopause can make it harder to sleep. So if you're then staying up late to get some alone time watching Netflix and reducing your opportunity to get enough sleep, then you're really just sabotaging yourself and your health and the way that you feel through this holiday season. So a simple wind down routine, dim your lights, the white LED overhead lights and stuff trigger the wrong hormone response in us and prevent melatonin being produced. So you really want to dim your lights in the evening or have warm lights. Put your phone away at least an hour before bedtime and read or something instead, or have a warm shower and use a lavender spray or have a nice relaxing herbal tea after dinner to help you start winding down then as well and to trigger that hormone cascade in your brain. Sleep is where our brain and our body rests and restores and repairs the damage from the day. And it consolidates and files away your memories. It's really important to get enough deep sleep and REM sleep for that to happen. And I want to encourage you to reflect and reset daily. So a lot of the time we're just racing through life. And this ties into mindfulness as well here, because a lot of the time we're just racing through. We go from one thing to the next. We get to an event, we've I've done all we need to do. Bang, we move on to the next thing there as well. And we're never sort of checking in with ourselves and what we need. And reflection is a really powerful form of self-care to check in with your emotions, thoughts, and needs. But it's one thing I tell my clients as well, that reflection and reviewing how you're feeling physically as well as mentally, but physically tuning in, how did that food impacted me? How did I feel after that? How am I feeling right now? And sort of reviewing how you're eating. Are too many of the treats and sweets and things like that creeping into your day? That's really important for long-term health and well-being. And that's what I see the success of the women that I work with that maintain their health and well-being, lose weight, maintain that for the long term, is because they can reflect and review. So what I suggest at some point of the day, like at both ends of the day, really, at the end of the day, ask yourself what went well. So have a think about it now. What went well for you yesterday? Is there a small win? Or it doesn't have to be enormous. It can just be a really small thing as well. What can you celebrate or reflect on there? And then think about what could you do differently next time to support yourself better. So think about that now. How could you approach the rest of today or tomorrow differently to support yourself better? And then what do you need tomorrow to support yourself? How are you feeling right now? What do you need? Just like you would a friend, ask that of yourself as well. And last question, what brought you joy today? What's something that brought you joy recently? Could you do more of that? How can you get more of that in your day? And so the other thing that I suggest that you do is in the morning when you wake up, how are you feeling? How did you sleep? How's your body moving as you get up out of bed? I find that's a really powerful reflection of your overall health, is how you get up in the morning and get out of bed. And that's a good time to reflect on how you've been eating, drinking. Have you been supporting and nourishing your body with your food most of the time? Or have you been doing too many of the other stuff? And that's really the basics of true self-care. Moving daily, so gentle movement each day, eating nourishing foods, balanced plate, protein and fat to slow down those sugar spikes and prevent those blood glucose spikes. And in there, staying hydrated, connecting with your loved ones, getting enough sleep, and doing something that brings you joy there as well, something that fills your cup there. So none of those are fancy, but they are really powerful, especially if you put all of them together. They're really powerful for helping you get through your busy life. Which one of them do you think needs the most attention in your life right now? Movement, nourishment, hydration, connection, sleep, joy. Probably joy, I'm going to say. And nourishment and hydration would probably come next. So what I want to say too about self-care is the way that you treat yourself teaches others how to teach you. And we talked about boundaries a couple of episodes ago, but setting those boundaries, prioritizing your needs, practicing self-care and self-respect, you show others that your well-being matters and that this is how you deserve to be treated. And it's not just about you as well. Like if you have trouble doing things for yourself just because you deserve it, when you care for yourself, you're better equipped to care for others without resentment and burnout. And that's really important at this phase of life because remember, we've talked about how progesterone, our people-pleasing hormone, is in decline in perimenopause and menopause. It can be harder to do all these things without resentment coming up. So this is where self-care is really important at this phase of life because it helps build our stress resilience and helps us feel less overwhelmed and less irritated and impatient there as well. And the last thing I want to say is that when you practice self-care, you're really modeling this behavior for your children. And I think it's really important for our daughters and the women around us to see this because we've all been raised to think that being a good mum means putting everyone else first and our needs come last. And by showing them that's not how it needs to be, that's not the truth, then we can help change that for their generation and the generations to come. So the things I've talked about today, quickly recap the self-care hacks. Start your day with a plan. Focus on your top 2 or 3 priorities and get them done early. And don't forget to do your plan early in the week. Take mini breaks. So just a pause for 5 minutes each hour, breathe, stretch, reset, have a chat with a friend, whatever you want to do. Squeeze in your joy activity then if that's what you'd like. Move your body, even just 10 minutes, gentle though. Remember, it's not leaving you drained. It's something that you enjoy and helps you feel good, but at the end of it. Maybe it's something fun with your kids, like a play at the park. Mindfulness, so pause and check in with yourself during the day. Stay grounded. Don't let that monkey mind carry you away. Stay hydrated. Nourish your body. Prioritize sleep, please. If you do nothing else, just making sure that you get like somewhere between 7 to 9 hours sleep a night, it'll make such a difference for you. And the last thing that I talked about was reflecting and resetting. Ending your day thinking about how it went, celebrating a win. Focus on the gain rather than the gap. So what I mean by that is focusing on what you've achieved rather than what still needs to be done at this moment when you're reflecting and resetting. Try it. It makes a huge difference in reducing your overwhelm. And doing that each day, that reflection and resetting. And as I said, in the morning as well for your physical self, it will help you identify what you need and plan for the day ahead there. So remember, self-care isn't about escaping your life. It's about building habits that support your healthy life that you deserve and for you to feel great as you deserve and building a life that you don't need to escape from. So if you need help nailing your self-care this holiday season, Perimeno Go is here for you and you can join it now. And it's your last chance to join it this year. When this episode is released for $279, this price is going up in 2025 because there's so much in there for you that I'm going to start charging what it's worth. So yeah, this holiday season or the run into the holiday season, I want you to think about self-care, not just as about surviving, but about thriving. I really want you to help change that for you and know that you can thrive in perimenopause and in the festive season as well. And these are small, actionable hacks. You can just integrate them into your routine. It does take practice. It does take persistence. It's not just going to happen overnight. You're going to have to do a little bit of work to get them in your schedule, but just pick one and start with that. When you've nailed that, add in another one there as well. And it will help improve your energy and feeling great and being able to be present and show up without resentment and feeling burnt out. So if you're ready to take your self-care to the next level, Perimeno Go is here to help. My program is designed to guide you through sustainable strategies for managing stress, nourishing your body, and just feeling amazing in this busiest phase of life. So yeah, if you've got a favorite self-care hack for the holidays, please share your thoughts in the comments or send me a message on Instagram, and you can connect with me there if you want to learn more about Perimeno Go and how it might help you. So you can find the link to learn more about Perimeno Go and the other episodes and resources I've mentioned today in the show notes, wherever you're listening to this podcast, but also at www.chaos2calmpodcast.com. And if while you're there in the show notes, if you've enjoyed the episode, please subscribe to make sure you don't miss any episodes. Leave a review and share it with the episode with a friend who could use a little self-care this holiday season. Next week, we're exploring how to bounce back after overindulgence without punishing yourself. So thank you so much for spending your time with me today. Until next time, keep transforming your perimenopause journey from chaos to calm.